Hello and a very good morning. Welcome along to your midweek edition of Ireland AM.
It is the 25th of January and we've got a jam-packed show for you.
Sure do, on the way. We're going to ask whether misinformation has a part to play in the recent series of refugee protests. We'd love to hear from you in this as well. 0896 111 111. What do you make of it all?
Plus, political reporter with the Irish Times, Jack Horgan-Jones. Does he have the latest? Because there's new things every day is what happens. We're going to have the latest on the Paschal Donoghue election expenses. Well, we're calling it a debacle at this stage, right? Is the government coming down over 250 quid? It's mad.
A bit insane, isn't it? Now, Alan, what else have you got for us?
Well, Tommy, you're going to love this. Now, if you're in the market for a new car, stay tuned because Geraldine Herbert has got some great tips coming up. But also, Geraldine, we're looking at this here.
This is my new favourite electric car. It is the VW ID Buzz, and you're just going to fall in love with it. It is fantastic.
Now, it's not a camper van, even though it looks like it.
It's inspired by the 1950s, the original Volkswagen camper vans, but no, it's a family car with 5 seats, and it is just gorgeous.
Tommy, you would love this, wouldn't you?
I'm coming out to see it. I'm on my way out. Yeah, oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Very cool, very good.
It is so cute.
Yeah.
It looks like a toy car that you play with. It's fabulous. Now, of course, with the fantastic news that the Irish are set to take over Hollywood with a record-breaking 14 Oscar nominations, we're going to be looking towards the big night. We'll be hearing from the woman who gave Kerry Condon her big break. Imagine being that one going, I cast her in that. Yeah.
Incredible, yes. And of course, with nine nominations. 9. The Banshees of Inisherin. Deric is standing by in Achill Island where the movie was filmed. Deric, I'm sure there's huge excitement there this morning and last night.
Yes, Tommy, huge excitement here on the island. Last night as well, there was a few subs in the pub. Anyway, day 2 live here from Achill Island, home of the Banshees of Inisherin. As you can see, beautiful shots. We're actually located in Pertine Harbour at the moment, situated between Pulla and Keel villages. And actually, this little spot itself was transformed into a portside street scene during the movie, complete with post office and shop. The shop, of course, of Reardon's was erected entirely from scratch. And then, of course, the row of cottages was a facade that covered the existing fisherman's building. So as you said, Tommy, great excitement here on the island. We'll have weather. We're going to be doing a location set tour across the morning as well. And I'm already, guys, I'm already booking my flights to LA. Am I going to the Oscars? I'm online here looking for flights.
No, Deric, I'm afraid you're now tourist guide over in Achill Island by the sound of that spiel.
Yeah. I do think, as for the island of Ireland, he should be on the red carpet at the Oscars. Can you imagine Deric being like, who are you? What did you do? And it being Julia Roberts. It would be amazing. Deric, looking forward to catching up in just a little while. Right now, it's time to go over to the Virgin Media News Hub. Here is Anne O'Donnell.
Thanks, Mary, and good morning. Well, the Tánaiste that Micheál Martin is travelling to Lebanon this morning. He'll be meeting with the Lebanese government as well as members of the Defence Forces who lost their comrade, Private Sean Rooney, in December. The peacekeeper was killed in an attack on a UN convoy heading to Beirut. Back home then, the Taoiseach Leo Varadkar has said government departments will be meeting over the next few weeks to decide what cost of living supports will continue for people beyond the end of next month.
Prices are still rising, so I'm firmly of the view that businesses, farmers and also individuals and families and households are going to need more help with the cost of living. I know we can't have a situation where all of the supports that government has put in place just end at the end of February. We also can't afford for them all to continue indefinitely either. So what we're going to do is sit down across departments over the next couple of weeks and work out which interventions, which different aspects of help can continue and which ones will not.
Proposed laws to regulate short-term lettings will be examined today. Last month, the government approved legislation that will see owners of Airbnb properties and other short-term lets apply for planning permission to operate. It means short-term tourism accommodation for periods up to and including 21 nights will have to register their property with Fáilte Ireland. Elsewhere, Jacinda Ardern has been replaced as New Zealand's Prime Minister today. Chris Hipkins has been sworn in as the country's new leader after the unexpected resignation last week of Ardern. Ardern plans to stay on as a backbench lawmaker until April to avoid triggering a special election ahead of the nation's general election in October. Earlier, Kipkins has held his first post-cabinet press conference.
I think cost of living is right at the top of the issues facing New Zealanders at the moment, because it has an impact on just about every other one of the issues that New Zealanders will care about. I have a lifelong commitment to quality public services for New Zealanders, health, education, making sure that we have housing. You know, we still have a housing crisis that we're working our way through.
And a number of people were injured in a large anti-government protest in the Peruvian capital, Lima. Police used tear gas to disperse crowds amid clashes with security forces. The unrest lasted for several hours on Tuesday after protesters descended on the capital to demand the resignation of the President Dina Boluarte, immediate elections and the dissolution of Congress.
For car insurance, van insurance or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Gur Mila Mahagocher, Tommy Bjornshire, Ilan Ochla. Day 2, live from the island. Great excitement, of course, following their Oscar nods yesterday. And we're going to be taking you on a movie location tour here on the island, right across the moor. There's lots to look forward to as we edge our way into the next couple of hours. Anyway, let's take an opening look at weather together, live from Pertine Harbour at the moment with Mark Armstrong with us on cameras. And we're under the cover of darkness out here this morning. We're still seeing plenty of patchy mist, fog and drizzle trail around now, pretty heavy in places and dense in terms of that fog as well. So if you are making a break out and about nice and early this morning, do dip in and out of your fog lights as you need them. Those southwesterly winds in the driving seat for now, with values in and around 3 to 6 degrees. Now, right across this afternoon, in fact, we're going to see that rain and drizzle, especially through parts of the north and into the west. That'll continue to sink and track in a southeasterly direction. So by late afternoon into early evening, we will see an improving picture. And as that rain clears, we will see those southwesterly winds veer to the northwest. Temperatures very similar to yesterday as well, at around 7 to 11 degrees. Finally then, tonight, as that rain clears out into the southeast, it will be dry and mainly clear. And in fact, underneath those clearer skies, a return to frost and some icy conditions as well, because it will be quite a cold night in store, with values there on average at freezing to 3, but falling back to about -1 to -2 across some sheltered spots. So that's how it's shaping up here on a damp and drizzly Achill Island at the moment. We'll be back again live at 7:35.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote. Coming up, we're going to be running through the stories you need to know about this morning with Jack Horgan-Jones.
See you very shortly.
Welcome back. It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Examiner. Its headline: asylum seekers will be forced to sleep rough. Asylum seekers will be forced to sleep on the streets as the government struggles to get accommodation providers to take new arrivals from countries other than Ukraine.
Workers face levy to park at office. That's the front page of the Daily Mail. Employers face being charged to keep their car parking spaces for their staff in Dublin City under new proposals from the National Transport Authority.
The Herald leads with McGregor's in a yacht of bother. A woman is taking a civil action against Conor McGregor amid claims her arm was broken during an assault on his yacht.
Mirror leads with that same story. McGregor denies assault on woman. Conor McGregor has denied allegations he assaulted a woman on his multi-million-euro yacht last summer.
The Star too goes with that story. McGregor accuser's car set on fire. The woman who accused Conor McGregor of assault has suffered another blow after her car was set on fire.
The Sun leads with knock knock. Who's
Enoch.
there?
Enoch knock.
Well, I know it doesn't sound right though, does it? When we say Enoch. Knock knock. Who's there? Not you again. Transrow teacher Enoch Burke twice tried to get into school. He was sacked from last week.
Right. Donoghue admits he breached electoral rules. That's the front page of the Irish Times. Minister for Public Expenditure Paschal Donoghue has admitted to a breach in electoral rules by receiving a corporate donation in 2020 that exceeded the strict limits imposed by law.
And finally, the Irish Independent leads with the same story. Donoghue shifts blame in bid to save his ministerial career. Public Expenditure Minister Paschal Donoghue has sought to shift blame for his electoral donation controversy amid unresolved questions about the costs involved. So joining us with that story is political reporter with the Irish Times, Jack Horgan-Jones. Good morning to you, Jack.
Morning, folks.
It just keeps on coming, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Is this the end of it, do you think?
It's the end of this chapter of it, I think, yeah. Like, the first thing to point out is that what came out yesterday with regard to the 2020 election is worse than what we knew about the 2016 general election.
Yeah, let's run through a quick timeline of this, can we? Because it seems like
where do you want to start?
So 2016, right?
2016,
What happened there and what happened yesterday with
2016, the businessman Michael Stone pays for the election posters in the general election that year for Paschal Donoghue. In relation to the Dáil appearance last week, Paschal Donoghue goes in, he says, look, here's what happened in 2016, and that's the height of it. Sinn Féin immediately start going after the 2020 general election, asking whether Michael Stone had an involvement there. Paschal Donoghue avoids that question in the Dáil last week, stands up in the Dáil on Thursday, the following day says, I have more to say, but I won't be back until next week. That brings us up to today, or yesterday, rather. Right, OK, yesterday. He comes into the Dáil and he says, we're going to have to go through this at light speed. He says that that he did do the same again, and that also, in addition to the similar kind of expenses that were met, there was a unallowed or improper corporate donation, and that will have to be returned to Michael Stone of 234 euros over the 200 limit. So it's a total of 434 euros. So it is worse than was disclosed. It's not necessarily a kind of step change worse. It's not as if he went in and said, you know, there's a donation of 5,000 or 6,000 euros being given back. But it's the principle here that matters. It's not necessarily the amount. And I think that people can get a little bit distracted sometimes saying it's only a couple of hundred euros. I think we have to remember that there's not a huge amount of corporate donations, not a huge amount of money washing through Irish politics because of this tightness of the rules that we put in place. And that's a good thing. But it also means that we should pay attention to the figures that are related to when someone is caught offside, because even if they're small, you know, in a system where there's less money, smaller amounts of money do make a difference, and there is the principle of the issue as well. Now, as we've just covered, there's an awful lot of complexity there, and there's an awful lot of outstanding questions which are themselves rooted in the minutiae of election law. When is a donation personal or corporate? How did he make an allowance? How are they getting the value of these things? How many posters were put up? And basically, I think they're leaning into a couple of things, they being Fine Gael and Paschal Donoghue. One, his reputation as a good guy, as an honest guy. They're asking him to be believed, and that was the line that the Taoiseach came out with yesterday. And second, the fact that this now more or less goes over to SIPO, the Standards and Public Office Commission, and the political system, I suspect, will start retrenching from it, having spent the guts of a week and a half on it.
So the thing is, and that's where Roisin Shortall, the co-leader of the Social Democrats, did say, is this plausible? That you did not know. The fact is that when he came out and said, so this is it in 2016, surely then he goes back through everything as someone who's involved as Director of Elections going, did anything else happen? And we're meant to believe that he didn't bother checking. Like, I just don't understand how they didn't draw a line under it straight away by going, this happened in 2016, this happened in 2020, because journalists are going to keep on going and are going to find out what's going on. And so are Sinn Féin.
Well. Yeah, the opposition will as well, and not just Sinn Féin, but the Social Democrats and Labour as well, all of whom had different versions of the same line of attack. We don't believe you.
Yeah.
The problem is that he doesn't necessarily have to be believed by the opposition. What he has to do is kind of construct a believable enough defence for people within the government to continue backing him. And I think that that's what he's achieved. And there's also that issue, the complexity, the degree to which the man or woman in the street outside the bubble really cares about this, or the degree to which they think that it's a big enough crime that someone like Paschal Donoghue should have to necessarily pay with his head. These are all different kind of competing factors that the political system is trying to balance at the moment.
What would Sinn Féin try and do now?
I think that the question is whether they move a motion no confidence in the minister.
And if he was to say lose his job, would they be worried? Are they set to go into government? Is that a question that they're asking themselves as well?
Well, I think that the issue, I think, is that probably if you look this closely at the returns, the SIPO returns of anyone, or indeed of the entire Oireachtas, you probably find a few forms filled in improperly. And, you know, Sinn Féin is also, obviously itself, facing a couple of SIPO complaints. So,
there's
you know...
one on the front of the Independent today.
Well, there's this question over an outstanding bill for a venue hire during the 2016... Yeah, that, you know, that, well, they may not go for the vote of no confidence, I think, because they would probably assess that they wouldn't pick off any government stragglers.
OK.
You know, and that they've probably extracted a big enough kind of price through 2 parliamentary outings already where they get to beat up on Paschal Donoghue.
Yes.
The question is whether there'd be any point in spending further parliamentary time on a third, and especially if you don't think that anyone on the government bench is going to vote against the government to go overboard on
or
it.
even independents going, well, I'm worried about my forms now, maybe I haven't filled that out the right way. And I think for the next while we are going to have people raking through forms.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, there'll be a lot of nervous people in Leinster House over this.
Jack,
you know,
Jackie's sitting there. He's been out the back there.
Is Paschal Donoghue okay? Is this going to be okay?
I think that he's safe for now. I think that if SIPO if the Standards and Public Office Commission move to a full investigation, if they find more, or if they find inconsistencies in his story, or if their findings don't support his story, it could become very uncomfortable for him. If there's a public hearing, it could become very uncomfortable for him. But I think that he has probably done just about enough to buy himself a little bit of time, which is a really important thing.
If SIPO's end to go by, I think he'd probably be safe enough.
Well,
yes, and there is this ongoing issue of SIPO being the watchdog that doesn't have any teeth. But like, if they did go to a full investigation, which they haven't done on many of the complaints so far, that public inquiry, you know, everyone related to it coming in and having to give evidence in public, that would be uncomfortable and would be a kind of politically volatile situation as well. So
you're the electorate. You're the ones at home, you're the ones who vote. These are the people who are governing us. What do you make of all of this? Do you think that's it? Not good enough? We have to, you know, he has to stand up and resign? 0896 111 111. Are you like, it's only €200?
Well, that's it, exactly as Jack said. It's only €200, but it's the actual
principle,
the morals.
Campaign finance does matter, you know.
Yep. So we'd love to hear from you. You're the electorate. We'd love to hear from you. Now,
let's move on to this Virgin Media Red Sea poll. 92% of young adults concerned that they're never going to be able to afford to buy a home.
Yes.
I mean, listen, it is between an age group of, I think, 18 to 24-year-olds who are kind of thinking this, but at the same time, it's sad.
That's true, and that big headline figure, that 92% of 18 to 24-year-olds, that's the one that lands. But I think when you drill down into the numbers in this Red Sea poll, you do see that it's kind of across the board. There's this kind of level of anxiety out there, particularly amongst younger people and renters. But also, one of the interesting figures that jumped out at me is to do with mortgages and homeowners, and they say that the overwhelming majority of people, so this would be older people who own their own home, or the bank owns their home and they have a mortgage on it, the overwhelming majority, 86%, are concerned about rising interest rates. So you can see that this degree of anxiety seems to affect all cohorts in the housing market, with the probable exception of people who own their home outright without a mortgage. And some of the figures are really quite striking. You know, so just over half the respondents in rented accommodation, 53%, concerned they will not be able to meet their rent payments for the next 12 months. So there's this insecurity and anxiety for those within rental accommodation, and then there's this on top of that: will I be able to meet the rent? Will I ever be able to own a home? It's the perennial question facing that entire generation. And I think that it goes to show why there needs to be more government intervention along the lines of affordable house purchase and affordable rent to kind of help alleviate those anxieties. Because otherwise, one of two things will happen. These people will leave, and the figures are quite striking on emigration in there as well. I think it's about half of people are considering emigrating. Or they will vote out this government.
18 to 24-year-olds.
Yes. So
it's just interesting historically from a country that did eventually rise up after the Land League, because we had we had a landlord class and no one owned anything in this country, and we're going towards a landlord class again. Where it's like, well, is anyone going to be able to own anything?
It's the ultimate insiders and outsiders. And you look at household wealth in Ireland. I mean, the biggest determinant of household wealth is your tenure status, whether you own a home or not. And like, it's a difference of multiples. Like, you're worth hundreds of thousands or you're worth tens of thousands, depending on whether you own your own home or not. And people feel that, even if they feel that intuitively, even if they don't know it explicitly. And like, that's why this is the defining political question of this generation, and also facing the political system today.
It goes back to whenever you're growing up, you think you can become a teacher or a guard, you can get yourself a job, you can own a house, you can have a nice living. And nowadays, when you're seeing young people like this who just 92% 92% of young, like that's an alarming amount of people think that they'll never own a home. And then half of them are saying, well, enough of that, I'm off.
Yeah.
And we don't have time,
sad state of affairs.
Very quickly, to talk about workers face levy to park at office. This is in relation to Dublin City Centre, that the National Transport Authority, every single employee, we're talking nurses who already have to pay for parking, sorry, they don't get free parking. But if you park, if you're given a workspace, a car parking space, they want to make you pay for it.
Yeah.
But there's no alternative for an awful lot of people when it comes to public transport.
Well, so this is in the Greater Dublin Area Transport Plan, and it's the seed of this was planted in the Climate Action Plan that came out last December, but now you start seeing it being made real. Now, the Climate Action Plan was quite specific, saying that this could only happen in an area where there was good public transport options. This seems to be more broad strokes. I mean, the devil will be in the detail, the devil will be in the implementation, but I think that the policy direction of travel is quite clear. No parking in town, no driving into town.
I would love to hear from you.
How are you going to get into town?
It will spread all over the country, you know that. So what are you doing if they're going, right, you got to pay for your car parking space? I know an awful lot of people have to do it already.
Do have to pay for the parking space anyway.
Absolutely, I know that.
I mean, it's all the public sector parking space. I'd be interested to hear what happens there.
You know, it's expensive enough as it is. 0896 111 111. We would love to hear from you. We'll be back with you on Ireland AM very shortly.
Well, following the news that there will be a pause in the provision of emergency shelter for asylum seekers at the City West Transit Hub, there are concerns that many refugees are now going to be left homeless.
Jack Horgan-Jones is back with us now to discuss, along with Enda O'Neill, the head of UN Refugee Agency Ireland. Thank you both so much for being with us. There's an awful lot in the headlines at the moment in relation to this. So I think we saw on the front of the Examiner, in your own paper, you're talking about it as well, Jack, and that is that accommodation. They can't find accommodation in this country for refugees that aren't Ukrainian. It seems like providers are willing to give it to Ukrainian refugees, but not other refugees.
And that is very much the case. So you have basically capacity available in accommodation providers, largely hotels, who have contracted to provide beds for what are called beneficiaries of temporary protection, i.e. people fleeing the war in Ukraine. Where you have a shortfall is people who have agreed or contracted to provide beds for international protection applicants. This would be the more kind of the type of person that we've seen coming into the country, you know, before, after, and during the war in Ukraine, but from other areas. Yeah. So they effectively, the flow through the City West Transit Hub, which is effectively what it's designed to do, people stay there for a little while before moving on to an accommodation provider elsewhere in the country. That flow for IP applicants, for international protection applicants, has stopped because there are no beds for them elsewhere, and that's why City West in turn has closed. And the knock-on effect of all that means that as people are coming into the country, priority will be given to international protection applicants who are in families, but single people are likely to instead be given a meal voucher, perhaps a sleeping bag, and been told and have their contact details taken, and then been told that they'll be contacted when a place becomes available, but otherwise effectively be left on the streets, and they'll be sleeping rough, and there'll be quite a lot of them as well.
Well, the thing is, I mean, we're talking the 70,000 Ukrainian refugees and I don't know the amount of other refugees in the country as well, but the way it is, it looks like there's no more space. Is that really what the government are saying? We have no more hotel rooms. We're trying to do modular homes. What else can they do?
Government talks about different streams, and the problem is that the mainstream, or you could say really the only stream that has offered a substantial amount of beds so far in this whole crisis, has really been hotel rooms and other similar kinds of service accommodation. So you look at modular homes, which is something they talk about all the time. No modular home is built. You look at pledged accommodation. You know, people have made a great effort there, but obviously the uptake has been hampered by the process itself, and there's 6,000 people in pledged accommodation. Again, that's a substantial amount, but when you look at against the total, there's not a huge amount there, and effectively they are running either out of hotel rooms in total or of hotel providers who are willing to give that service, and you have the prospect of quite a lot of those. I think it's 1,800 plus beds at least coming out of the system as we head towards March, April, May into the spring and summer and tourist time. And
you're working with refugees who arrive in Ireland all of the time to see that we've got a situation where obviously there are people who are fleeing war-torn. There's many things that are put forward. We'll talk about the far-right rhetoric in a while. But people are coming here, they're hoping for a roof over their heads to try to sort themselves out for a while. And we've got places going, are you Ukrainian? Oh yeah, your name's down, you're allowed in. But if you're Algerian or Georgian or Somalian, no, not for you. Like, this is, unfortunately, it's not unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I think we saw, to be fair, a remarkable response last year at the beginning of the war in Ukraine. And an awful lot was done last year to respond to what was happening. I think in relation to people coming from other countries, we haven't seen the same response, and it is becoming, an incredibly serious situation now. And really, we do need to adopt the same attitude. We need to see all parts of government, the OPW, local authorities, perhaps even the defence forces, like playing a role in meeting the needs for those who are arriving here.
We saw on Monday there was a disturbance with 3 men involved in one of the hubs. Do we see, are these incidences, are they common in these hubs whenever you have 800 people, say in City West, where there's only capacity for 370? People are on top of each other.
It's really concerning. I mean, what we have seen because of the lack of new accommodation coming on stream is real overcrowding and really unsatisfactory conditions in some of these places. So City West is close to 1,000 people there. It's less than 400 beds, less than 20 showers. So it was originally designed for use for a few days as a transit hub before they went elsewhere.
But no one could have expected 70,000 refugees coming in.
That's you can see why people get frustrated, why something might happen.
Yeah, I think the conditions that people are staying in, people are only human. It's not surprising in those conditions that tensions boil over, and thankfully it appears it was only minor injuries. It wasn't a very serious incident, but I mean, we do need to take stock that people need to have appropriate conditions or these things may happen again.
We're looking at possibly a 14,000 bed shortfall by the end of March, Jack. And we need to talk about the protests that have been happening around the country. And these are based in communities. I think Philly McMahon is speaking in the paper this morning, the Dublin footballer, about Ballymun, and he's like, there's misinformation out there about to the people of the community. We've also seen it at East Wall in Dublin. There's been 9 around the country. And it's not surprising that often these protests are taking part in places that have been abandoned by the government, that haven't had that much investment, that haven't had this. So it is kind of putting a whole other community into a community that's already been abandoned.
Yes,
right?
or places that have kind of pre-existing commitments to other things like Killarney, and that's a town that is basically asking itself, should we return to our kind of tourist trade, or should we commit more long-term or medium-term to providing asylum for people? And that's a pretty important question, not just for the accommodation providers there, but also for the people who live there and work in ancillary services and so on. And I think that you're looking at 2 things here, right? First of all, you're looking at a fairly severe geographic concentration in where these people have been accommodated. There's a lot in Dublin, there's a lot in the kind of tourist counties where you would expect to find hotel and other forms of service accommodation, and then you're looking at services that are already stretched. So you don't see as much about this in the education side, but where you definitely do see it, and where you've seen it in government documents, briefing documents produced for incoming ministers of health, you have GP services coming under pressure. So you have those 2 kind of things, a concentration of people in certain geographic areas and certain services coming under pressure. And that creates a fairly volatile backdrop that is, I think, to an extent being preyed upon by elements within the far right. Legitimate concerns over service provision, some pre-existing, some accentuated by the refugee crisis, and then that being kind of weaponised, I think, by kind of bad actors who are willing to come in and try and capitalise on that and sow the seeds of division and use this as a way to kind of further their own agendas, which are in almost all instances pretty nasty.
Yeah, it is difficult. I mean, Enda, we do have to just finish with you on this, because as Jack said, there are some violence in some of these protests, but there are people around the country who are concerned that there's people coming into their towns and villages, and we don't have enough GP, school places, everything else.
There's a homeless crisis anyway in Ireland, yeah.
What do the government need to do?
Well, I think really what we need to see is effective planning, coordination. We need to see leadership, actually. At the local level, you actually see really welcoming communities for the most part. Yeah. You see a huge amount that goes unseen. People volunteering, doing homework clubs in accommodation centres, people doing collections for people, things like that. But they can't do it on their own. Communities need to feel like this is under control and that the government has a plan to meet the needs for those coming in. And, it's important to say that other countries have been dealing with this for years. Ireland's never actually experienced refugee movements on the same level as other countries until last year. So it's new for us, but it's totally manageable and we can do it. But it's going to need, you know, a really urgent response to do that.
Yeah, interesting. It's going to need control, but then the government are saying that they can't provide accommodation, so asylum seekers can still come into the country and just don't know where they're going to stay. Yeah.
Currently what's happening.
It's a pretty grim situation, all right.
Listen. 0896 111 if you'd like to get involved, whether you're involved in a community group or something's going on in your area. We'd love to hear from you.
Enda O'Neill, of course, head of UNHCR Ireland, and Jack Horgan-Jones with the Irish Times. Great to have you both with us. Thanks so much. Plenty more Ireland coming up after this short break.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, Geraldine Herbert is here with her top tips and tricks if you're in the market for a new car. Good morning to you, Geraldine.
Good morning, Alan.
We're going to look at this now, this new Volkswagen. But I was just talking to you before we came on air, and we're still a sucker for the new reg in this country. January, February, still the biggest time to buy a new car.
Yeah, people still love that 231, that reg. Even though we've split the registration, it's a decade now. It was 2013 when we introduced it. So there's a new reg plate in January or in July as well. We still love the January one, and sales are going quite well at the moment.
They're good at the moment.
So it's good, yeah.
Let's have a look at this. We were looking at this earlier on. This is the new Volkswagen.
Okay, so it's inspired by the camper vans of the 1950s. You know those classic,
it's
iconic...
really retro looking,
isn't
it?
Fabulous, though, and it is my new favourite EV. It's an all-electric. It's got 5 seats, so perfect for the family, and it's got a range of over 400 kilometres, so you're not going to have any range anxiety. Now, it's not cheap. It starts at 66,000, but look what you're getting. You're getting a fine family car, and it just gets so many looks on the road. Is what everybody wants to know about it.
And inside, is it comfortable?
It's really, really comfortable. It's got sliding doors, so it's really handy to get kids in and out of. And kids love it. My two, I couldn't get them out of it, and they're teenagers, so they're not easily impressed. It's just, it's really, really nice.
Now, but does it need to be this big? Is this the whole idea of it, that it looks so great and cool?
The thing I have to say, that once you get inside and you get on the road, it feels really small. It shrinks around you. There's fabulous visibility because, as you can see, there's glass all around
here,
it.
all right around. It's
so it doesn't feel in any way as big as it actually is, but you benefit from all that space because of the size. So for a family car, you know, you need space.
And you're saying again how much to start?
66.
66.
Now, there will be a 7-seater option next year, and the following year, 2025, there's going to be a camper van version. Can you imagine? So it'll actually do what it looks like. So that's
but
the
people
plan.
probably, the problem is that people probably think it is a camper van.
Yeah, I'm sure they do, but it certainly gets people talking. It's just, you can go nowhere, but somebody wants to know something about it.
Now, some tips, as we were saying, we love the new reg. So for people who are thinking, OK, it's time to buy the new car, I was just reading some of the tips. Some of them are very obvious, but some of them make great sense as well. And your first one is setting your budget and sticking to it.
Yeah, this is really important, Alan. No matter how much you have to spend, even if your budget is tiny or you're really splashing the cash, be careful because the cost of everything is going up at the moment. So make sure whatever you set aside to pay for a car, that you have a bit extra as well. And you factor it in, whether your insurance is going to go up because the new car, whether, you know, what's your motor tax going to be, what's the maintenance on it. So factor in all of the running costs, not just the sticker price of the car. It's really important. And as I said, stick to that budget.
Stick to it. And then choosing the type of car that you want. Like some people will always stay with the same brand of car. They'll just get a new one, an updated version of the same type.
Yeah,
would you suggest that people try different cars?
Yeah, absolutely, and do your research before you do, and don't just settle for what you've got before. But I think people are becoming a bit more adventurous. But the things to look at is, do I need a big boot space? So then maybe you'd be looking for an estate car. Do I need something high off the ground, SUV? Do I need car seats for children in them? You know, so just look at what is my lifestyle, what sort of driving do I do, and think about all of those things. Just don't buy with your heart, buy with your head.
Oh, but then when you see it, you are buying with your heart, aren't you? Like, it's like going in, looking at this and going, I love it, I want it. I can't really afford it, but I'll stretch myself. And that does happen.
Yeah, as I said, that's what you have to be careful of, because factor in the idea that the costs are going up all the time. So make sure you have room to manoeuvre with whatever amount of money you set aside every month.
Now, everyone's talking about electric cars, and we all should be looking at buying electric cars. At the moment, is there much availability there if you are looking for an electric car, or are we still going with your petrol diesel cars?
Yeah,
Well, your petrol cars.
It depends what your budget is, Alan. If you're buying new and you have a decent budget, there's lots of electric cars. You might have to wait a while for them at the moment because there is a delay. But if you're in the market for a second-hand car, this is where we really fall down. We don't have a huge selection of second-hand EVs. So, you know, and if you're buying with very little money, you're probably looking at petrol and diesel simply because your budget doesn't stretch any further.
Yeah.
So really, that's what will make the difference.
And you know your finance options as well.
Yeah.
Like explore the finance options that are out there.
Yes, so again, if you're buying new, a lot of people go PCP. That means, you know, you can spread payments over 3 years. You're not buying the car. You're really getting the use of the car, but you're paying much less than you would for a bank loan. But if you want to own the car at the end of it, you're better off going for a bank loan or a credit union loan. Spread the payments over 5 years and you own it at the end. Well, you own it from the beginning, but, you know, you have it paid off. So just look at what suits your lifestyle. I would say when you're getting yourself into a loan situation like that, regardless of whatever, just make sure that you're in a situation that you know by this time next year you're still going to be in the same job. You're still going to be able to pay for it. So just look ahead. Don't think of just today.
Now, and one thing which didn't strike me until we were talking earlier on this morning, test driving your car.
Yeah.
Because you get into it, you take it on a test drive and you go, yeah, love it. But you may not have parked it, reversed it, done lots of things that you do on a daily basis when you suddenly go, I've spent 60 grand on this and I can't really park it properly.
Yeah.
It's not good doing certain things. So really give it a good test drive.
Yeah, no, the test drive is really, really important. So if you have car seats for kids, bring them along. If you have teenagers, put them in the back of the car as well when you're test driving. If you have golf clubs that you carry regularly, bring them.
Because
so it's
just to make sure it all fits.
I do, and
especially with the
it's
car
really
seats.
important as well that you have good visibility, that it's easy to park. Because as you say, you don't want to spend all that money and suddenly bring it home and go, God, I hadn't realised this is so bloody difficult to park. So yeah, the test drive is your opportunity to take as much time as you like to explore as many things as you need to know that give you an idea of how you live with this on a day-to-day basis. So spend that time and think about it.
Because I'm sure there are garages that do just the certain test drive around from the garage, down the road, back, and that's it.
And you're blown away by the fact that you don't know where any of the controls are. You're sitting in the car and the test drive is over in 20 minutes. And you're going, but I didn't learn anything. So no, it's your opportunity. You're spending a lot of money. Take that time.
Some great tips there, and this is lovely. I'm sure lots of people are going to love this. It is so retro,
including me.
It's so cool looking. Thanks for that. Tommy, I thought you were coming out for have a look at it.
I know, I'm all about the old school one now, but yeah, love it. Very nice, very nice.
You do love an old school camper van, don't you?
Right. It is time for a break now, but we have lots more on the way. Deric is going to be soaking up all the Banshees of Inisherin excitement on Achill Island.
He didn't have his flat cap on, did he?
Oh, he's looking very Colin Farrell, I think.
Okay. We'll see what jumper he'll have in just a little while when he takes the coat off, all that. And we're having Mexican spiced chicken with black beans and salsa in the kitchen. We'll see you back here shortly.
Hello, good morning. It's great to have you back. We have lots more to come between now and 10 o'clock.
We do. Coming up, we're talking about Ireland's bid for Oscar glory, and we're going to be
got it in the bag, don't we?
In the bag? Why are we bother having a ceremony?
How many nominations is there?
14 nominations for 3 separate Irish films. There's another one as well, I think, for editing.
Definitely going to have 3 Oscars.
Oh, see what we're going to do. We're going to be talking Oscar glory. He's mad for betting this week. Are you going to put 20 quid on that?
It's with interest in it.
So we're going to be talking to the woman who gave Best Supporting Actress nominee Kerry Condon one of her first ever stage roles.
Also, comedian Alison Spittle is going to drop by for a chat about everything from Paul Mescal winning an Oscar potentially to aqua aerobics classes.
Why not? We're also going to be rounding up the latest drama from the Love Island villa.
Now, Alan, is something Mexican on the menu?
Yes, we certainly do. Scott, good morning to you. How are you?
Morning, Alan.
So we're talking Mexican. Are we going really spicy?
No, we'll keep it mild.
Okay,
so
what are we doing?
We've made up Mexican spice. We're going to do a little bit of grilled chicken here. And then we're going to do a smoky chipotle and lime black beans with roasted peppers.
Okay, sounds lovely. Will I be able to handle it?
You'll be able to handle it.
I'll be able to handle it. OK, looking forward to that. And, of course, we were talking about the Oscars, and Deric is on Achill Island finding more about the local landmarks where the Banshees of Inisherin was filmed. Deric, over to you.
Yes, Al, we're live here on our Banshees of Inisherin tour right across the morning. We've actually landed down here in Keem Bay at the moment. Now, we're still under the cover of the darkness at the moment, but we managed to get some shots yesterday. Hopefully you can see it on your screens. That house perched right on the cliff edge is actually the home of Colm Doherty, who was played by Brendan Gleeson in the movie. Of course, Gleeson up for an Oscar nod for Best Supporting Actor for his role. Now, that house is actually an original structure owned by a local family here on the island. It was given a makeover, replastered, new roof as well, but the actual scenes from the movie itself within the house were filmed in studio. But Muireann, look, we found you a brand new pad. Are you up for it? Will I put in a bid for you?
Yes.
Look at that.
Yes, please.
To be fair,
Can you get me a house?
That looks stunning, doesn't it? That really is class. Deric, you're going to have to get the Aaron jumper out. You're going to have to get that jacket off soon.
I have it on.
Look at that.
Look, I have it on. Look, there it is.
Our very own
It's about 2
Brendan
degrees
Gleeson.
out, Tommy.
Good stuff. Thanks very much, Deric. We'll catch up with you later on.
For car insurance, van insurance, or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Gur míle maith go teargus fáilte arás go dtí Éileán Achla. Tommy Bio Anish Keem Bay. Beautiful opening shots as we get into the 8 o'clock hour. Look at that for a stunning view. We're going to be catching up with a local tour guide as well as the director of the Achill Film Festival following those Oscar nominations for the Banshees of Inisherin. That's all to come in and around 8:45 this morning. Anyway, let's take an opening look at weather. We're slipping past 8 o'clock. Still under the cover of darkness, beginning to brighten up here in Achill Island off the County Mayo coastline. Elsewhere, plenty of mist and drizzle now, still hitting parts of the west and into northern areas, and that's beginning to gradually trail there into parts of the Midlands in those light southwesterly winds. Now, right across the day, in fact, we will see that system continue to edge, continue to move in a southeasterly direction. So again, that light rain, light mist and drizzle, the order of the day as it feeds through the southeast. But in behind it, a clear is developing through parts of the northwest. And as that rain and drizzle clears, we will see those southwesterly winds veer to the northwest. Top temps of around 7 to 11 degrees. Finally, then tonight, as that rain clears southeastwards, in behind it, we're going to see a much better picture, improving clear skies. That will allow for, once again, a return to frosty and icy conditions out there tonight into tomorrow morning. And again, sub-zero temperatures, values on average at freezing to 2, but falling back to about -1 to -2 across some sheltered spots. So that's how we're shaping up for now. Beginning to brighten up here in Achill Island, and we'll be back again live at 8:35.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote. Time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Examiner. Its headline, asylum seekers will be forced to sleep rough. Asylum seekers will be forced to sleep on the streets as the government struggles to get accommodation providers to take new arrivals from countries other than Ukraine.
Workers face levy to park at office. That's the front page of the Daily Mail. Employers face being charged to keep their car parking spaces for their staff in Dublin City under new proposals from the National Transport Authority.
The Herald leads with McGregor's in a yacht of bother. A woman is taking a civil action against Conor McGregor amid claims her arm was broken during an assault on his yacht.
Mirror leads with the same story. McGregor denies assault on woman. Conor McGregor has denied allegations he assaulted a woman on his multi-million-euro yacht last summer.
The Star too goes with that story. McGregor's accuser's car set on fire. The woman who accused Conor McGregor of assault has suffered another blow after her car was set on fire.
Mental. And I love this. The Sun leads with Enoch Knock. Who's there? Not you again. Trans row teacher Enoch Burke twice tried to get into the school he was sacked from last week.
Donoghue admits he breached electoral rules. That's the front page of the Irish Times. Minister for Public Expenditure Paschal Donoghue has admitted to a breach in electoral rules by receiving a corporate donation in 2020 that exceeded the strict limits imposed by law.
And finally, the Irish Independent leads with the same story. Donoghue shifts blame in bid to save his ministerial career. Public Expenditure Minister Paschal Donoghue has sought to shift blame for the election donations controversy amid unresolved questions about the costs involved. And a few people...
Yeah, getting in touch with us about that. Stephen said, we've a national healthcare crisis, we've a homeless crisis, a housing crisis, a cost of living crisis. Who cares about another dodgy politician's financial issues? They've all got skeletons in their closets. Can we please move on? And I wonder, is that maybe the view of people who are watching this morning? Can we move on from this? Yes, he did wrong, he's admitted it, but let's move on because we have all these issues and it's distracting from the issues.
We're talking about the billions of euros that are being wasted, we see, over €200. But it's not that, it's the case of that a politician has... You know,
I know, but look,
gone against the rules.
Doll time is very precious, and to be taking up that much doll time to be talking about that when other big issues need to be discussed. Now, I know there's the issues in it.
Maybe is a distraction.
Yeah, totally.
It is. The one thing we do have is strict financing rules in this country because in other countries they are paid for by vested interests. We all know that. We look at other countries and it's like, well, you're paid for by that, you're in the pocket of this, and we need to not have that happen. The fact is, Michael Stone is a businessman. What vested interests do they have? But I understand where you're coming from. We've got a lot of issues.
Yeah, and Pascal, listen, he is a trusted politician, and this is the problem that I think Orla said. Why is that even the politicians you think that are doing a good job, something is going on wrong in the background? I'm disappointed with Pascal Donoghue. I'm not even into politics.
Well, is she disappointed that she wouldn't vote for Fine Gael again if she was a Fine Gael voter? Or does she just want this to sort of move, oh, look at he said it, and go on and move on? We'd love to know what your opinion is on it.
I mean, when we hear about all these crises, national health, care, homeless, housing, cost of living, we don't have a crisis when it comes to television and the awards, so do we? Something to celebrate about coming up next.
The Oscars.
Beautiful, Peg.
Yeah. It's time for a break. We need to break away from all this. Come back to us, because after we're going to be taking a closer look at Ireland's bid for Oscar glory. How many nominations have we got?
14.
14.
Incredible. See you shortly.
Welcome back. Now, did you win a Community Games medal? Is that the pinnacle of your life? That's me. We're not talking about you now, as to what you got. We're not talking about Six Nations.
It's only a silver.
We're chatting all things Oscars, whether it's sub surprises or secondary schools stars. 14 nominations for Ireland. It's over saying it's for
Ireland. Here to chat with us is journalist Deirdre Molumby and Kerry Condon's former drama teacher, Mary Butler. Good morning to you, Mary, as well. Pleasure to have you with us. It must be an exciting day for you yesterday, Mary.
Yes, indeed. And 2 years on the run is great altogether. We had Jessie last year, and now we have Kerry this year.
Because this is it. We need to explain, because Kerry Condon, who's up for an Oscar in the Banshees of Inisherin, and Jessie Buckley, who was up for an Oscar last year for her fantastic work in Wild Rose, they were both your students in Ursuline Thurles. So basically, you're up for an Oscar nomination by 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, I should clarify, I'm not the drama teacher. I was an English and French teacher at that time, and I directed the shows in school. And as I still do, and yeah, it's wonderful year after year how you see the talent coming through. And I suppose even this year, having had 2 years gap with COVID, you were kind of anxious about, you know, how they'd be and all that. But sure, they came through again, and they were great. So it continues, thanks be to God. And we're just so lucky to have such talented people as Kerry and Jessie on our books. And it's down to them. They're real pros. They work so hard at their craft.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy one, as you know. There's a lot of luck involved as well as talent. So well done to Kerry. She's a Thurles girl. And I'd say the whole town is very, very proud of her. Her mum and dad are still around, and her aunts and uncles and all of that. So it's wonderful. Wonderful for her after many years. And well deserved. Well deserved,
yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm looking forward. You've got Jessie and Kerry. I'm looking forward to seeing who you have coming in for the awards next year as well. This is really amazing.
I'll give us a chance.
Yeah, can't be there every year.
Deirdre, listen, it's an exciting day yesterday. I think the whole country were just glued to the television to see how many nominations. I don't think we ever believed that we'd get as many. 14 is incredible.
It was absolutely amazing. And I think actually we have representations across all the major acting categories, which is absolutely amazing to see. The Quiet Girl, aka on Colleen Kuhn, up for best film not in the English language. That was the one for me, because On Colleen Kuhn actually was my favourite movie of last year. Never mind.
I find it fascinating that it's not up for Best Picture, to be honest, because it's that phenomenal.
It is. It's an absolutely gorgeous movie, and there's something about it. You watch it and it feels like an instant classic. It feels like a movie that we have watched over and over again, because it's that kind of familiar and it's that beautiful and it's that kind of perfectly crafted. It's an absolutely stunning movie.
It's a gorgeous movie, and it was a bit of an outsider. You know, people were kind of wondering, was it going to get in that fifth slot? And it was the fifth one to be announced as well. So the anticipation and the excitement whenever Colleen Kuhn came out.
Absolutely, yeah. And it wasn't like, say, nominated for the Golden Globes. So then you're like, oh, will it have a chance here at the Oscars? But it did it. Our little movie did it.
Oh, it's so good. And we've spoken to Colin and Cleena, the husband and wife team who were behind that movie. It's based on Claire Keegan's novel Foster. Before, they're fantastic. I think we said then you're going to be up for an Oscar.
Yeah, and we said come in here, but they've been nabbed.
They were meant to be in here this morning, but then the Late Late Show, as it does. No, you can't go on anything else until you're on the Late Late Show. Lads. We'll talk to them after Ryan's done with them, as it does. It's just a beautiful thing, because it's just such a fantastic movie, and it's the small movie that could. And then you've got the Banshees of Inisherin, which of course Martin McDonagh, his movies they're always Oscar darlings essentially, but this one, a lot of people it was unexpectedly dark for people that were expecting someone, but what a movie.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. It got 9 nominations altogether, which is amazing. And all the lead actors are nominated. You have Kerry Condon in there, Brendan Gleeson, Barry Keoghan and Colin Farrell all nominated, which is absolutely incredible to see.
It really is like a bit of a hug, isn't it, for all of them to be there?
Yeah. I think that, for me anyway, my money would be on Colin Farrell. For me, I think that this is his year. And I know that when it comes to the Best Actor wins across kind of the Critics' Choice Awards, the Golden Globes, etc., it's been fairly kind of divided. Colin has won some, Austin Butler for his performance in Elvis has won some, and Brendan Fraser as well for The Whale. But I have this feeling that it is Colin's year. It is the peak of the Colin Renaissance,
I think
he's
dying
got
to give it to him.
Yes, I think so too.
He isn't really. The one thing that we know about the Oscars is that you have to campaign. It's like being a politician, and Michael Fassbender has spoken about it before, just being like, I'm not into it, lads. I'm not going over to LA for 2 months to go around shaking hands. And I don't know if Colin's really into that either.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, I do think that there's something about his performance in the Banshees of Inisherin that's really kind of struck a chord with people in terms of, what that film has to say about masculinity and the fact that it's such a vulnerable performance. And really, I don't want to give it away for anyone who hasn't seen it, but really he goes through this character development, which is absolutely heartbreaking and beautiful, just seeing him isolated, torn away from his friends and just kind of slowly disintegrate. It's really quite incredible.
I'd say he would do the canvassing, because he had a tough time in his early career where Variety magazine over in LA, they gave him quite a tough time. So he's got these new roles, he's got that experience. I'd say he'd love to shove it up to them by getting this, and if it meant doing a bit of canvassing, it'd be really interesting. But it's a tough one with Colin Farrell, Brendan Fraser, Alison Butler, and no Tom Cruise. I have to say that. I'm devastated. Poor old Tom Cruise missing out on Best Actor.
He's up for Best Picture. He's executive producer. He could win for Best Picture for Top Gun.
Yeah.
The populist choice.
For Kerry Condon, though, Best Supporting Actress.
I think probably her biggest competition is going to be Angela Bassett for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, because she's kind of been the one to win, the awards, kind of the Golden Globes, the SAG Award, etc. so far. So that'll be her toughest competition. But, who knows?
She was phenomenal in it. And I just want to say very quickly, because Nell Meskel yesterday, she let us all into the Meskel's life a little bit, where they were all on the family FaceTime as Paul Meskel was announced.
Were they?
Yeah, they were all on this massive FaceTime. And they're all she's just like, how has this happened? And they're all like shocked.
I love it.
And this is the little movie as well that kind of went under the radar, but a beautiful performance from Paul Mescal in After Sun.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah, it's a shame as well that unfortunately we don't have any female directors nominated this year. And this film was directed by Charlotte Wells, I believe is her surname. So it's a shame that she didn't get a nod. I was quite disappointed as well to see Maria Schrader, who directed She Said, which is another film that got shut out this year, unfortunately. So, I mean, every year you're going to have some surprises, you're going to have some snubs, but it's kind of difficult to complain when we have so much Irish representation in there.
It's so good. And we know that Paul's mother started chemo treatment yesterday, Dervla, so obviously love to them as well. But just for Mary, who's in Thurles, Mary, if you're still there, we believe that when Kerry Condon was going up for a role in My Fair Lady, she wasn't good enough for Eliza Doolittle, was she?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but she was pipped at the post. I'd say she was very disappointed, but being the professional she is, and even in those early years, she got on with the role of Mrs. Pearce and made a super job of it. And, you know, fair dues to her, because, as you know, after auditions, there's always disappointment. And it's one of the hardest jobs you have as director.
Yeah, imagine being the person who beat out Kerry Condon for Eliza Doolittle.
What was she like? What was she like back then?
Thank you very much for that.
Was she very diligent even back then?
She was. She was, Tommy, yeah. She was a great girl. The way she approached things, she took whatever she was doing seriously and gave it 100%, you know. And even when she was preparing and leaving cert, I think she had an interview for drama school and audition and all that. She was meticulous in her preparation.
Well, you can see the hard work is definitely paying off, that's for sure. Well, now we have to do, of course, Deric is in Achill Island all day today as well. He's been traversing, trying to find out what the locals made of all the Oscar success. Let's take a look.
It's wonderful because it's many of us were involved. I was an extra in the film myself, and it's just wonderful to be hearing all these awards, possible awards coming, and the island getting such publicity.
What does it mean to the people of Achill? Oh, it's great. It's a great thing, surely. Yeah. It'll draw crowds and all that type of thing, you know.
It's just brought a really good buzz for Achill, really, and kind of put us more on the map a little bit.
Sandra, great excitement here in the island.
Oh my lord, there's going to be such a buzz for the summer, especially on Achill Island, and I suppose the Aran Islands as well. But like, it's just, we haven't got the weather today, but we can guarantee the sunshine is going to be here for the summer. The beaches are going to be busy. There's just such beautiful locations. You saw some of the locations today where the film was set. It's just a really, really exciting time for the island. And I'm only a blow-in.
When you see the movie, it looks like Achill and Inishmore. It looks like they're Ibiza because the weather's so good.
The sun will be back in the summer, remember.
Yes.
It will be back. It's
yes,
not
it will.
great there today.
It was someday. Deirdre, we have to ask, we're up for 14 nominations. Do we have a chance of winning anything?
I do. I think that I really do genuinely believe Colin Farrell is going to win Best Actor. I think that we're going to get... I think Martin McDonagh is going to get Best Screenplay rather than Best Director.
Yes.
Because I think Steven Spielberg probably has that in the bag for The Fabelmans. Banshees, it's a bit of a dark horse for Best Picture. I've got a feeling it's going to go to The Fabelmans because the Oscars just loves a movie that loves movies, and that is what The Fabelmans is all about. Love of cinema, love of family. That's a gorgeous movie as well. I would love to see The Quiet Girl win. I know it's a bit of a long shot. I would personally love to see that.
Yeah.
So there's some of the ones I think we have in the bag.
All Quiet on the Western Front, is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's been a favourite in that international
film. It's a tough one,
budget.
yeah. I think that All Quiet on the Western Front, that also got 9 nominations, so the same as Banshees.
Yeah.
And then Everything Everywhere All at Once got the most nominations.
As Ricky Gervais said to Kate Winslet, you have to do a World War movie and then you're guaranteed to get yourself an Oscar, is what he said. And also, we didn't get a chance to talk about An Irish Goodbye, which is a short movie that's up for an Oscar as well. Two lads from Northern Ireland, which is just beautiful. So, do you know what? It's going to be an exciting time, Deric, to the red carpet.
Guaranteed you'll be all over that, and Deric will
I'm going to
have
to take Monday off, the Monday off, because I'm going to be on that. I'm going to be doing my red carpet
Listen, Deirdre Molumby, it's great to have you with us first. Well, hopefully, you've only said 1 out of the 14. Hopefully we get a few more than that.
2.
And, of course, Mary Butler, thank you so much for joining us, and all the very best of luck.
Thank you very much, Tony.
For car insurance, van insurance, or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Thank you, Chair. We're live here on the beautiful Achill Island in County Mayo right across the morning. We're going to be catching up with a local tour guide as well as the director of the Achill Film Festival. Great excitement here on the island, and they'll be giving some local reaction to the Oscar nods. Yes, so that's all to come in and around 8:45. Anyway, quick look at weather. Beginning to brighten up pretty nicely here on Achill Island. That patchy light rain and drizzle continue to track through the Midlands now into parts of Leinster as well in those moderate southwesterly winds. Now, right across today, as that system feeds through the southeast, we will see a clearance develop in behind it through the northwest. That rain, as it clears through, will drive those winds into a northerly direction as well. Top valleys of around 7 to 11. And finally then tonight it'll be mainly dry and settled. Good clear skies with some patchy frost and ice as well to take us through into tomorrow morning, and another cold night in store too, with values back to -2 to +3 degrees. So that's how it's shaping up here on Achill Island at the moment. Come back to us live in around 8:45.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote.
Thanks for staying with me. You're very far away. Scott Holder spicing things up in the kitchen this morning with a classic Mexican dish.
So he's going to knock our socks off.
Here we go.
Here we are. We're looking at it here, Scott. You've just made one. It looks delicious. Look at that.
Thanks,
That's
Alan.
before we get stuck into it.
Yeah. So, we're showing you that now because it's in front of us.
What do we have in, Scott? What do we got here?
We have Mexican spice chicken, which I'm just seasoning here and adding our Mexican spice blend.
Okay. And then the black beans, what have you done with them?
Black beans, so we've fried off some peppers.
Yeah.
Green, red and yellow. And then we've got some red onions in there.
Okay.
What's in your mix, your spicy mix?
So in there,
do you make that yourself?
I did.
Yeah.
We've got cayenne pepper, paprika. Just going to add our peppers in here to get a nice fry. So we have cayenne pepper, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, cumin, and coriander.
So you make that up yourself and then you have it. So
exactly. Have it in a little bowl or a little jar, and then you can use it whatever to season things. We'll slice up some red onion.
That's delicious.
Okay. So you put that mix all over the chicken.
Yeah. Season it with salt.
Then we're just doing the side
mix it
now.
with our spice mix, yeah.
So to do the side, it's just peppers, onions, bit of olive oil.
Bit of olive oil.
Lovely.
A little bit of salt. While that's going, we're going to make a little salsa.
Okay.
So we've got some chopped or sliced even cherry tomatoes.
This is actually, it must be quite an inexpensive meal to make.
A little bit of red onion.
Because a couple of chicken breasts are not expensive.
No,
and
not
a
at all.
couple of peppers.
Very inexpensive, very quick and easy to do. I've just flattened out the chicken on the thick part. Flattened out so it cooks faster, yeah. So in here we have our cherry tomato, our onion. We'll add a little bit of coriander, and then we'll go a little squeeze of lime.
Yeah, like lime is so popular in Mexican dishes, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose more commonly we use lemon and orange here, but it's really nice, gives it nice little citrus burst.
Okay.
And then we'll just leave that to kind of marinate there for a minute or two.
That's the bit I'm loving, the tomatoes.
The tomatoes, yeah, they're lovely, aren't they? And the
Really
beans,
good.
have you tasted the beans?
Okay, so we've got our peppers and onions going there. And we'll add in our black beans.
Are these tin box beans? Yeah.
Yeah, so these are tinned. You can get them pretty much anywhere these days, just like chickpeas or butter beans.
And is it because you're making this Mexican dish, you're putting them in?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Or is it just to bulk it out?
No,
as
I mean,
well?
you can use any beans, but traditionally in Mexico they use black beans.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. Add a little bit of colour.
And it does bulk it out then as well.
It does, yeah, absolutely.
So, see, with the likes of coriander, like it's kind of a lot of people aren't big fans of it. Is there like an alternative you can kind of use?
Yeah, so a lot of people
aren't not fans of coriander.
A big fan of coriander.
Apparently, lots of people aren't fans of coriander.
No,
it is.
Apparently, some people have a gene that
don't like coriander.
Makes them react to coriander. I don't know if that might just be the excuse they're giving us to.
It's like they say that you have that gene with Brussels sprouts. So there's something in you that you either love or hate Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, a bit like
chilies,
the Marmite.
No, I just like that's just hot food.
So then we're going to add this.
So there's no alternative to coriander?
Sorry. I would put in flat leaf parsley.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If you want an alternative. But generally, I'd say just give it a go, try it. Yeah. I actually didn't really like coriander when I was a kid. And the more I started cooking, the more I was trying different ingredients, the more it grew on me. So
this in your hand.
This is our dressing. This is our lime and chipotle.
Did you make that yourself as well?
I did, yeah. And
so if you're at home, then you don't have lime and chipotle dressing, no?
So the recipe's there, and it's really simple. You just either make it in the jam jar or in like a NutriBullet. It'll take a couple of seconds. And it's just got lemon, lime, chipotle, honey, and olive oil.
Okay, yeah, and just whiz it all together.
Just give that a nice little toss there. Don't break the...
Chipotle, it's kind of like a spicy mix, isn't it? Spicy...
What's chipotle?
So chipotle is a dried Mexican chili that is then in a adobo sauce. And you get it in a little tin. You can get it in any supermarket either.
Okay, and then you just make that sauce yourself. So you'd have that sauce, you'd keep it in a jam jar, and you just keep... How long would that keep, like, in the fridge? If you...
That'll keep easily a week, probably 2.
2 weeks, OK. So you're making a couple of dishes.
And you can use it then for any dish, or you can use it for a salad dressing. So we'll take our black beans here and our pepper mix.
It's quite healthy, isn't it? I mean, it's... Chicken breast, beans, and
exactly.
And a lot of veg.
Very healthy.
Especially if you did the chicken in the oven.
All nice, good ingredients.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's no harm in cooking your chicken in a frying pan here with a nice bit of olive oil.
Oh yeah, I suppose it's exactly the same.
There's nothing unhealthy about it, really. So we'll just slice up our chicken here.
Lovely, yeah.
It is delicious. I have to say, it is delicious. I'm loving the beans. I'm loving the beans, and the chicken is lovely.
There we go.
And then we just pop a little bit of salsa on top.
Very nice.
Yum.
Maybe even a little bit of coriander.
You can have that one, Al, and I'll have this new one.
The whole one?
You get the hot, fresh one.
Look at that.
There we go.
Look at that. That is
so
delicious.
Mexican spiced chicken with smoky chipotle lime black beans and a little tomato salsa on top.
Loving it.
I have to say, the black beans, I wouldn't be mad. Like, not that I'm not a mad fan of it, but just something I'd never buy. But they're so tasty.
Yeah, no, they are really, really nice. Something different. Maybe you'll replace your chickpeas or your butter beans next time.
And very healthy as well.
Scott, thank you so much.
Thanks, Alan.
Lovely stuff. Wearing, do you want some wearing? We're here, look at us.
There's not going to be much left.
There's not going to be much left.
You said that's all, Warren. You're one. Warren, what do you want?
What you want,
Get yourself down to Los Chicanos.
Come on.
Do you know what?
Oh.
We're going to send Deric off. Before he goes to LA to the red carpet, our bosses are going, will you stop saying that? We're not sending him over. He's in Achill Island, right? And he's going searching for Jenny the wee donkey. We think he's celebrating the Banshees of Inisherin and getting the local reaction. We'll be back shortly.
Picking bits of coriander out of my teeth.
Food was lovely, Scott. In case you missed it.
Los Chicanos, check it out. Welcome back. Now we're going to go live to Deric, who is in Achill Island, also known as the Banshees of Inisherin HQ. Yeah. Deric, take it away.
Is there a donkey in sight?
Yes, Tommy, great excitement here on the island following the Oscar nominations yesterday, joined now by Alan Gilty, the local tour guide, and also Emily O'Callaghan, director with the Achill International Film Festival. And Alan, we'll kick off with you because there's great excitement here in the island, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a great buzz. Sure, like, you know, we were delighted at the beginning, you know, to get a movie here, but then to get 9 Oscar nominations, so it's really kicking off, really excitement, and it's, you know, we're looking forward to a very busy season, Deric.
Absolutely. Now, Achill Island is already a busy spot, but from here on out, it's going to be up the walls.
It'll be up the walls, yeah, hopefully, but sure, we have the facilities to cater for everybody, and it'll just extend the season, so it'll be a huge welcome to all the businesses of the island.
Now, you're a tour guide here in the island, and you bus them around on your coaches.
Yeah.
Where do you bring them?
Well, we start off in Westport. We have pick-up stops all along the way, but as soon as we cross the island, we'll turn left and we'll go around the Atlantic Drive, and we stop on the corner where J.J. Devine's pub was. Now, it's a stunning location, really on the edge of the Wild Atlantic Way. We'll continue on right through, and then we'll bring them down as far as Portgene Harbour, where that was O'Riordan's.
Yeah, where we were this morning.
Yes, we were there this morning, exactly. Yeah, so that's where O'Riordan's shop was, and then we bring them back in here to Kimbay, to where Colm Doherty, the main man, was. So, yes.
So you bring them on a tour right around the island?
Yeah, we give them a full tour, give them all the history. Like, we're doing it for 6 or 7 years, so we have it bansheed up a bit. So, so we give them all the history.
And has there been lots of interest already now?
There's a fair bit of interest. A lot of people now making calls now. There's a lot of people travelling now by car, but they don't know what they're looking at. They don't know where to go in the area. So this is where the tour really is kicking off, and it's starting to get very, very busy now. Yeah.
And you'll be full on for the summer now. Emily, you are director with the Achill International Film Festival. What a coup for the island!
Absolutely. I mean, we always knew Achill is such a special place, and now Hollywood knows it, and the eyes of the world are on Achill.
9 Oscar nods yesterday. Like a great scoop, wasn't it?
Amazing. I mean, we knew there was going to be a couple of nods for Banshees, definitely, but to have 9 nominations, I mean, it's just spectacular.
Now, we've got footage of the movie on air at the moment. Let's talk about that special relationship between Gleeson and Farrell.
Really special chemistry between them. I think Martin McDonagh has known that for years. He had them in Bruges together. Great chemistry on set. They're very different people on screen and off, but we could see the fascination with their friendship and fallout of friendship, which happens all of us.
And it's such a special story, a simple story, but very well told.
Absolutely. So many universal themes in there. It covers everything in life: love, loneliness, friendship, and I think everyone really engaged with it around the world.
Martin McDonagh chose this spot. He had his scouts out here about a year before the movie was made.
Yes, he was scouting, I believe, all around the west of Ireland and the north in Donegal, and finally settled here on Achill, which is just a spectacular spot, as we can see. And so to show it in that full glory with beautiful cinematography has really done it justice, I think.
And I would say a front runner or a dark horse for Best Picture?
I think there's big competition. I think everything everywhere all at once might give it a run for its money, but Banshees has really touched the hearts of so many people, so we'll see what happens.
The Achill Film Festival up and running last year. You brought 300 people down here to the island. Great for tourism, but also great for the International Film Festival to get it up off the ground.
That's it. We had a great first year, really surpassed our expectations, and now I think I can tell with the phone calls and the emails that we're going to have even more interest this year. It's only our second year, so we're really excited to show these beautiful films, and who knows, the next Martin McDonagh and Colin Farrell could be among the films.
Alan, you weren't asked to be an extra in the movie, were you?
I wasn't, but I drove them. We drove all the extras and some of the cast, like Sheila Fritton, Pat Short, John Kinney, Gary Lydon. We drove all of those, so we had the contract for that. And nice guys.
And I believe Colin Farrell used to run past your window every morning, Emily. Tell us that story.
He did. So Colin was running to set every single day, which is incredible. And he was living not far from where my house is, so he was going by.
Not a bad sight on an early, but where can we find you online as well, Alan?
You get me on achillcoaches.ie. You can book the tour.
Okay, book the tours. And your film festival then, Emily?
So achillinternationalfilmfestival.com.
And onwards and upwards for next year.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so there we have it, guys. What a setting. What a beautiful location here this morning. Fingers crossed for the Banshees of Inisherin. And guys, I am going to LA. Can you book that flight, please? We're all going to LA.
Yeah.
He'll drive. He'll fly the plane.
You may hop on the boat now. You might make it in time for the Oscars.
We're going.
We're going.
We've uncharted here. We're going.
God, that is a gorgeous setting, isn't it? What a beautiful. And lovely to see it actually with the scenes from the movie as well.
And they whitewashed the house and then they took all the whitewash off.
We must find out why it's taken off it, because it was lovely with the whitewash.
I'd say it's probably because to keep it the way it was before the movie came along. Anyway, fair play to Deric. It's really amazing, very exciting
Off to LA.
for
He
everybody.
better get in the queue there, because I'll be looking for that one as well.
On all the islands.
I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
Now, we're going to take a quick break, but we've lots more on the way.
Yeah, comedian Alison Spittle is joining us for a chat, and we're catching up with all the Love Island drama.
Plus, we've got some perfect prints to update your wardrobes. We'll see you very shortly. Hello, welcome back to Ireland AM.
Going up on the way, we're going to be chatting to comedian and actor Alison Spittle. You okay, Al?
Yeah, right.
We're also going to be having a full debrief of all the Love Island drama, and I hear it's all kicking off, Ali.
Everything is kicking off from what's really going on between Olivia and Zara to the 6 islanders that are up for being kicked off the island. I'm going to be chatting about all the latest gossip from the show.
Ooh, the claws are out.
The packing frenzy with 6 people, my God.
Alan, what's coming up on the catwalk?
Well, it's all about prints this morning, isn't that right, Justine?
Yes, we're out with the dark, dreary colours and in with bright, popping prints, taking some inspiration from the Spring-Summer 23 catwalks, but doing them in a more subdued, wearable way.
Well, you're very colourful this morning.
I went on
You went
theme.
all out, all out. And Deric has been soaking up all the Oscar excitement on Achill Island all morning. How are you getting on, Deric?
Yes, Al, we've landed down here now on Kim Beach. This was the beach actually in the closing scenes of the movie between Farrell and Gleeson. And guys, would you believe this beach has actually been voted one of the top 3 beaches in the world? And here we are on Ireland AM this morning. Doesn't it look absolutely sensational? Wow. I'm not coming back, lads. I'm staying.
It looks absolutely gorgeous, Deric. Tell you could shack up in that little house, be perfect. Good stuff. Thank you, Deric.
For car insurance, van insurance, or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Gur míle maith go teir seach nó méid tar éis sin é agus tá míad beyond seo Ilan Achla right across the morning. We've landed down here in Keem Beach at the moment. Voted one of the top 3 beaches in the world, in fact. Next stop, America. Anyway, we'll take an opening look at weather. We're slipping past 9 o'clock here this morning, and it has begun to brighten up pretty nicely here in Achill at the moment. Some nice bright spells beginning to push through, but still plenty of light rain, mist and drizzle. A taster of fog as well, feeding through parts of the Midlands into western and northern areas as well. So dip in and out of your lights and take care on the roads over the next couple of hours in that light to moderate southwesterly airflow. Now, right across the day, in fact, we'll see that system of mist and drizzle. Light showers continue to track in a southeasterly direction, but an improving picture in behind it, because we're going to see some nice bright spells on the cards through the northwest, and as that rain clears through, those southwesterly winds will veer to a northerly direction. Top Valley is very similar to yesterday at about 7 to 11 degrees. Finally then tonight, it'll be dry and settled, good clear skies for most areas. Now, we are seeing a return to a lot colder conditions tonight. Frost and ice will be on the cards, and temperatures will slide as well. A lot chillier than what we've seen over the last few nights. On average, it freezing to 2, but falling back to about -1 to -2 degrees across some sheltered spots. So that's how it's shaping up for now. Begin to brighten up pretty nicely here on Achill, and we'll be back again live at 9:35.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote.
That's great to have you back. Warren just lost her mind there.
Yeah, she just thought that Achill, or
Looking at that there,
Achill, is it? No,
the way Deric was at Keem Beach, it looked fake. It looked like he was on a green screen.
Looked
it
like
looked
a movie
that
set,
perfect.
didn't it? It looked like what, you know, what?
Looked like Banshees of Inisherin was said there, doesn't it?
Which is up for how many nominees?
9
nominations.
9.
And I'm going to watch it today. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to watch it today now because all the hype.
All the hype.
And we're trying to bring your expectations, because times we're like, oh,
and I'm the same. I'm going, will I be bored?
Because I'm expecting an In Bruges type when you had Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson together. it did like that.
No.
But it's meant, like, it's... Because Colin Kuhn is, like, it's a gorgeous movie. I really, really enjoyed it. And Banshees of Inisherin, you say, is up there with it as your top movies of the year.
It's my second favourite movie of the year after on Colin Kuhn.
Top Gun third.
And you just have to say to, what's her name in Colin Kuhn?
Carrie Crowley.
Carrie Crowley. Been going around for years and delighted for Carrie Crowley. When I saw her yesterday, like, she was so excited, nearly in tears at the fact that it's beautiful.
It's a really amazing day. Yeah, it really is. It's going to be very excited about that.
Now, another amazing day. It was great crack in the Dáil. Everyone was getting along, as they always will. Paschal Donoghue, of course, made a statement to the Dáil yesterday about other issues with his campaign and the expenses that were
double breach of election-related rules.
Yes, 2016 and 2022. Mary says, I think we should just move on about Paschal Donoghue. They're there to run the country. If they do something wrong, they should have to donate to a worthwhile charity. You had what sort of worthwhile charity were you thinking, Tommy?
Maybe the Fine Gael...
Charitable Fund.
Charitable Fund, yeah. That'd be good.
And then Angela said, why should we forget about it, Murren, and move on? Pascal's not sorry for what he's done. He's sorry he got caught.
Steph said politicians should set the bar for the country. I kind of have to agree with this. There are so many untruths being told, and there seems to be no repercussions, like some not declaring the houses that they have for rent, some looking for planning permission, and obviously stepped down from the jobs from that as well. And this is coming to light about Paschal. It's disheartening for the Irish people. We need good, strong leadership in this country, especially during these tough, trying times, not corrupt, well, whatever, politicians that are out to get what they can for themselves. And I think that kind of sums it up. Strong leadership is what we need in this country. And and Paschal is a man who's had so much respect, and I think he's very well respected by the
right
people.
throughout Europe as well.
Absolutely. And you know, it just has this grey area now, which unfortunately has a lot of people asking questions.
Yeah, and we have strict rules because of what emerged from the 70s, 80s, 90s in Ireland in relation to politicians. And plus, we've had the on-board Planola scandal about what was going on there.
And
it is very disheartening.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, it is going Sippo. We shall see what is going to happen as the week goes on. Now it is time for a quick break. But after this, we're going to be joined by a very funny comedian, Alison Spittle.
See you shortly. Sure. Welcome back. She swapped Westmeath for London 3 years ago, and since the move, comedian Alison Spittle has seen her comedic status soar.
Yeah, from selling out shows to presenting podcasts, Alison is sharing her talents far and wide, and she's with us now. Good morning. Podcast. Do you know one person you're going to have to get on the podcast? Because, well, we're all Oscar mad here this morning.
Yeah.
And Paul Mescal, who, of course, has been nominated.
I know.
You've chatted to Paul before, haven't you?
I interviewed him years ago when Normal People was just coming out, when the pandemic was happening. The Normal People came out, and BBC asked me to do a tweet along, like the co-video party, and interviewed Paul and Daisy on Zoom in their houses, and I'd seen about 3 episodes, and I think I was asking them mostly about. Well, there were quite exciting scenes happening in Normal People.
Yes.
That's my big memory of Paul, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. And then it's sort of, because everyone is now looking for the connection. Well, ever since Normal People.
Yeah.
We've been like, I saw him walk down the road. I definitely saw him walk down the road.
If you shifted Paul Mescal when you were 15 and Maynooth, you'd be delighted. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, you'd be saying that at Christmas. You'd
At
be
the
like,
GAA disco.
an Oscar-nominated actor.
If you stayed over yours and left the gas shorts behind, yeah, absolutely, you're on to a winner.
That would be worth a lot of money. I'd say more money than an Oscar.
Well, you're going to have to get him back on for another chat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's really easy to get these days. No, he's coming on here tomorrow. It's great.
Is he popping in?
He's popping in. We just had a conversation I didn't expect during the ad break, and that is you both in an intense discussion about Bluey, who is a children's cartoon character. You called it the what?
I called it the Breaking Bad of children's TV.
Okay.
Script structure, characterisation, it's just very well made.
You write for children's TV?
Well, like, I know, I'd love to write for Bluey.
You write Bluey?
I'd imagine that. But no, like, I write for children's TV occasionally, and like, you have to look at like what's the best kids TV show at the moment, and Bluey is the best kids TV show. You mentioned Baby Shark.
Baby, I watched something at the weekend called Baby Shark and the Fox, or something on the Fox.
Not to the same level as Bluey now.
No. That's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Very popular, but
very popular.
Not good scripts.
It was terrible. Yeah.
We're just saying, because that's all I get to watch television-wise is pretty much children's television, which is it's a kind of a sad state.
Bluey's not too bad.
Bluey's
probably better than most adult
To be fair,
TV
it's probably at my level, actually.
Is it?
So it's probably right. Listen, let's talk about you.
Yes.
How is life? I mean, the podcast is flying. You're a busy woman.
Podcast is flying. So I have a podcast called Wheel of Misfortune. We started it with Fern Brady, who's like my best friend in comedy. And then she got a book and Taskmaster and couldn't do it anymore.
That's what I was wondering, because I'm obsessed with Taskmaster, well documented. And she was fabulous on it this year. She was on with Dara O'Brien as well.
She's the rightful queen.
She was so good.
Yes,
but she couldn't do... She just didn't have time.
No, to do the podcast as well.
Greedy Taskmaster.
The BBC were like looking for a replacement. We went through guest hosts, and eventually they settled on Kerry Condon, which is mad. Imagine you're getting your best friend replaced with a person you loved when you were younger as a pop star.
Like when you were in the GAA hall, shifting Paul Mescal to Whole Again by Atomic Kitten, and the next thing you're hosting a podcast with Kerry Condon.
That was your words, not mine. Now
there we go.
I
just
shifted.
Put that in there. What a replacement. The chemistry test. So the Wheel of Misfortune is where you just get people involved.
Yes, absolutely. So it's like live line except for embarrassing stories.
Lovely.
So instead of talking about whatever's happened that day in Ireland, you kind of talk about whatever's happened in your life. So you're like, oh, something terrible happened to me in college. I made a show of myself. Like it's a lot of stuff now that maybe I couldn't say at 9 o'clock in the morning, but it is great crack. Yeah.
How did it go down with Kerry whenever you talked about your love for her ex Brian McFadden?
Oh, she's grand about that. I love that you're getting in there with the questions. I went on a hen party to Minehead in Butlins. Fully recommend it if you're looking for a hen party weekend.
Butlins?
Wild.
Like Trebalgan, Mosney, Butlins.
Adults weekend, they call it. And no kids are allowed.
It's wild over the UK.
Yeah, it is wild. It's like, just imagine 40 hen parties and Brian McFadden. Like, stuff's going to happen. And it was amazing. It was Brian McFadden and Keith Duffy were headlining one of the nights. And they call it Boys Life. I think, is it Boys Life?
Boys Life is the name
or
of
Man's Zone. It's one of them. It's a super group. Yeah. Man's Zone or Boys Life.
But they didn't disappoint.
Oh, they were amazing. Brian McFadden is a great performer. Like, he's good voice. He's cheeky. I had a great time.
What did Kerry think?
She genuinely is grand about that. Like, Kerry, she talks about like her, Brian on Wheel of Misfortune or anything. She's great.
Because a lot of her stories, because Kerry Condon on this podcast, like you are, very open about the bad things.
Very frank.
Very frank about the embarrassing things, and a lot of that would have happened back then. So, are you, like, she's the crack? You're having fun. It sounds like you're having fun.
We are having fun. And sure, look, if embarrassing bad things happen to you, if you can't talk about it and laugh at it, what's the point of it at all?
Can you do it on BBC, though? Are they a bit strict?
No, they're good. They're good. And we were allowed to say everything except one word. And I won't say it here. No. but they only have one rule.
But the podcast has gotten in trouble with the Daily Mail before.
It has, which I'm delighted about.
Yes.
Like, genuinely, it's like a medal of honour. And it boosted our listenership. Like, that was the best thing. It was said, like, licence fee payers have to pay for a Pure Isle podcast, and they've featured me and Fern.
Yeah.
Delighted.
Well done.
Thank you. Like, genuinely,
I think
my
that I
most
texted
proudest
you.
moment.
I think I might have been like, Alison's made the Daily Mail for being Pure Isle.
I know. My mammy is proud. It's brilliant. It was like my favourite thing to happen to me was getting on the Daily Mail.
It's
like, I don't want to get on it again, though. Please don't drag up anything else. But I'm happy with that. Yeah.
But you've always been very. I remember, like, your play Stylist, very open about embarrassing things in your life. You've got a brand new comedy show.
Yeah,
which is called Wet.
Yes, it's about aqua aerobics. So you were leaning in for an exclusive there.
I was worried. It's about aqua aerobics.
I would say it's about aqua aerobics. It's my favourite activity in the world. I love it because, like, aqua aerobics is an exercise class mostly used by older people and fat people because it protects the joints. Like, genuinely, that's a big thing. And when I trot around in the pool, I just feel like a racehorse that's been injured and my billionaire owner doesn't want to kill me yet. So I'm just being rehabbed up and down. And the music's amazing. Have you heard of me? Look, have you ever done aqua aerobics?
I used to do a lot of it, yeah, when I was injured, yeah.
No,
used to always have to
here
do,
we go, the injured racehorse himself.
Exactly,
here.
and you think you're so fast.
Oh, I think I'm
you?
incredible. Like, I will move the water, and then, like, to be honest with you, because it's older people, they move a lot in the water. So I'm a big splasher. I love to splash. So if I move the water and they move too, I'm like, I am a king of the sea. Like, I feel incredible.
I kind of feel it's embarrassing, though, because if you people are watching, you're really going for it, and
They'll
you're
be
actually
watching
moving
you
like
now.
a snail.
You're an athlete. They'll be watching you. They'll be like going to a disco and seeing Michael Flatley there, and you're like, oh, watch this in a pool. You know what I mean?
Stop giving away all your lines from the show.
I didn't expect you two to really bond over Bluey, a child's cartoon, and aqua aerobics. It's been quite a morning.
I'm going to be on the new podcast next.
But there's loads of stuff that's coming up, embarrassing moments.
Wait till you hear my stories with Brian McFadden.
Really? You talk about so many other things in Wed as well. Like it's all loads
of stuff, contraception, everything. It's a brilliant kind of like combination of both. I can't talk about that either, really. But you know,
again, it's embarrassed. We're not like we're get taken off air.
I think we need to wrap now.
I think we need to not get into.
If people want to get tickets, they can go on to AlisonSpittle.com. Of course, first show is in Belfast on February the 11th, and tickets still available for that. Very best of luck,
It's so
Alison.
lovely coming in.
And you're all around the
great
country.
crack. It's very scary, isn't it? Like chatting generally on TV, because you're like, what's she going to say?
What's she going to say?
But I think I got away with it. I
You
didn't say
did
anything.
incredibly well.
Thank you.
I remember one time you went off on a rant about ketamine once beside Jessica Harrington. So we did very well this morning.
That's true.
It's the fact that you actually knew there's words that you can't say, and you said, I'm not going to say them here either this morning.
Exactly.
So, well, you're learning, Alison. It's
You
great.
wouldn't believe how many swear words are in my head at the moment. Swimming in filth, my head now.
Let's move on
Anyway.
quick. Time for a quick break, but still to come, we're going to get up to date with the latest from the Love Island Villa.
And we're taking inspiration from the catwalk with some new season prints from there. We'll talk to you in just a few minutes. She's got prints on, chevron. Talk to you in a minute.
For car insurance, van insurance, or home insurance, call the Quote Devil. Unless, of course, you've got money to burn.
Yes, sure. Ireland AM here on the sands in Keem Bay in Achill Island. We've had the most beautiful 2 days. A big thank you to all the locals, all the guests and islanders we've met over the last 2 days as well. They looked after us so well. And of course, best of luck to the Banshees of Inisherin in the run-up to the Oscars in March. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed to bring something home. Anyway, a final look at weather together, and it's begun to pick up pretty nicely. What a beautiful start now out here on Achill Island, and thankfully that mist and drizzle beginning to trail now southwards across the country in those moderate to fresh southwesterly winds. Now right across the day, in fact, we will see that system continue to track in a southeasterly direction, and clearance developing in behind it from the northwest as those southerly winds veer to a northerly direction. Top 10's very similar to yesterday as well at 7 to 11. And finally then tonight, a lot more settled, dry and clear with some frost and ice developing, with temperatures back on average at freezing to 2, but could fall back to about -1 to -2 across some sheltered spots. So that is your final weather update from me and Mark here on cameras in Achill Island in County Mayo. Slongafull.
For first-time drivers, young drivers, returning drivers, if you've had an open claim or have had too many penalty points.
The Quote Devil's always got one hell of a quote.
I love when I know what's coming up in fashion. I'm going to read this now. It's out with the dark colours. Didn't get the memo. And it's in with the brights as we come into the new season.
Yeah, stylist Justine King is here to put a spring into your step. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great.
So it's all about colour, getting rid of those drab colours and starting to embrace
I think we're ready.
summer. Yeah.
Yes. Now, we've still got things to keep us cosy as well, but it is all about colour and brightness and new season. I think we're all ready after a long winter.
Yeah,
Okay.
our first look.
Yes, so first up we have Sophie, and she's in this beautiful mint shade, which I think is such a gorgeous spring shade. This is probably our most muted of our printed colours today. I'll start off with her gorgeous jacket, and that is from Irish brand On Trend, and it's this lightweight parka. It's a real spring jacket. Obviously,
gorgeous.
yeah, isn't it stunning?
It's so dainty.
Cropped, and then it has the drawstring waist, and I think parkas we tend to see in khaki, so this mint is a much softer shade. It's better on cooler skin tones than khaki is going to be as well, and it's got then the kind of balloon sleeve too. So it's got lots of little detailing going through it, and I think that is something you just throw on.
Well done, Sophie. She got the little piece of fluff.
Throw on with your jeans or your t-shirt, and it's just, yeah, lovely dainty jacket.
Now, I love that jacket. Can we talk about the, because I did see this on the catwalk at Spring Summer 23.
Yes. Tie-dye.
Tie-dye, and it's going to be, it was all over the, it was all over the menswear.
Exactly.
catwalks.
It's even more in for men this season than for women.
Tie-dye is back.
Yeah, Louis Vuitton had it on their menswear. We'd Ulla Johnson for women. I think picking out one of the colours in the tie-dye like I've done and matching it to the jacket means it's really subtly to blend in. If you're wearing it head to toe, it's going to be much more of an extreme look. That jumper is from Friday's edit. The jeans then are from On Trend, and they are the push-up skinny jeans. So on the back of these jeans, they have some very subtle, clever stitching that means your bum is lifted in them too, and they're really comfortable with a really nice stretch. They come in a darker denim as well, and then in a black coating as well. So really nice fit.
I just the runners are going to, they're fab.
Aren't they? They're a bit of you, I think, Mary.
They're really, but they're going to go with so many different things.
Aren't
they're
they?
Great.
Exactly. So obviously I picked out the mint again throughout the look, but you could pick any of those colours or wear it with something really simple and let your runners just do the talking. They're from Chenille Shoes, who are in Oranmore in Galway. So our jewellery then comes from Irish brand Zoe & Co, and we've gone for gold here. So we've got the gold-plated, these contemporary rectangular hoops. We're seeing these a lot as a kind of a different type of hoop rather than your traditional circle hoop. Dress them up or dress them down, and I've paired that then with the layered necklace, which is all one piece, so it's sold as one piece.
Oh, right, okay.
That kind of snake chain we're seeing a lot of.
Chain.
And then, of course, the initial with the diamante, which you can get any initial in
And
the
can you
alphabet
get your
too.
own, obviously your own initial?
Yeah, all initials are available from Zoe & Co. with
That is lovely.
Nice.
Sophie, that's fab on you. Love that
It's
jacket
really comfy
there now.
as well, doesn't it?
So we're going animal print, I assume, is back again. Is this, Linda, the second look?
Yes, and we're going colourful animal print is what we saw on the catwalks of Versace and of Gucci. We're starting off with this coat because I wanted to show how you're going to pare down your animal print, and that's why I've gone for a classic kind of camel coat here from On Trend. There's definitely Max Mara vibes about this because it's very oversized, relaxed fit. It's a little bit lightweight too though, so it works as a spring coat, but it is fully lined, and then it's got the big pockets to the front, and then of course it has the tortoiseshell button detail you can see down the front too on that coat.
Very nice. This is a great outfit. So then we're going with this bright dress.
Take off the coat and we'll show this fabulous dress. So as I say, Versace and Gucci were doing this strong colour animal print, so we're moving away from those brown
Didn't put a
tones.
massive lion head.
No, we didn't go that far with this one.
on this one.
This is a great shape, this dress, and it comes from my kind of dress. It is the faux wrap, so the front is going to be great on a bigger bust too, and then it has an elasticated waist and its own elasticated waistband. But of course, you could pick out one of the colours in it and add a black waistband if you wanted to pair it with black heels or black boots, or add a little bit of metallic maybe in your waistband with that too. It then has the crossover front, and it can be a big slit down the front if you move your legs slightly, and we can see. So you could wear it with a sandal. I wanted to show you how you're going to maximise this dress to wear it for daytime. So that's why I've paired it with the runners
it down with the runners.
Totally, yeah. From
Those are
Chenille
lovely.
Shoes as well. Beautiful, everyday kind of neutral runners. They come in the beige, as we see here, or with a little bit of black on them too, and they are leather too. So they're a great white, clean, easy, everyday white runner.
They're really lovely.
Yeah.
And the jewellery?
So our jewellery then from Zoe & Co, we've got these beautiful earrings. So these are a little bit different for your hoops because they've got pearl and diamante, and then they're that kind of chunkier style hoop as well. And then onto the necklace, this is a personalised pendant. So this is what Zoe & Co are doing so well at the moment. They have this in silver too, and you could get any name. So coming up, we've got Valentine's around the corner, or for any birthdays or graduations or anything, this would be a perfect present.
Justine King's always about the presents. Well done.
Get the presents. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Linda. Cheers.
Ursula's with us now.
Yeah, so Ursula, again, we're going for the popping print, but this time it's a print clash, which we were seeing on the catwalks again. So it's kind of done the clashing for you in this dress. There's no need for you to be styling it up. We're letting the dress do the talking here.
After the Hamptons, Ursula, it looks like.
Yeah. So we're calling this the scrumper trend. I didn't make this up. This is a spring-summer trend of wearing your scarf. Your jumper as a scarf is the scrumper. I knew Alan would love it.
Why is it calling it a scrumper?
Sorry,
No,
because it's a jumper as a scarf. So you can see the pearl detail. I knew you'd hate it. I had to include it.
Sorry.
We've got the pearl detail down the back. And this Nicola Ross in Nace is this whole look, but they do this jumper in lots of different colours and it sells so well for them. It has a beautiful batwing
Why
sleeve
wouldn't you
too.
just say it's a jumper around your shoulders?
We're calling it, it's a scrumper, it's a trend. So the dress then comes in a range of colours as well. It's a great fit. It has the Mandarin style collar and then the button down detail and 2 side slits and then the 2 pockets on the side as well. So we saw that kind of statement print at Roberto Cavalli. I do think if you're wearing something as statement as this, it's keeping everything else very muted, which is why I've gone for the matching jumper rather than adding any more prints.
And you are dressing this down, but I could see this dress at a wedding or an occasion type thing because it is lovely.
100%. That with a gorgeous sandal. Even on holidays, you could wear that, you know, with a flat sandal. We've gone for the trainers here from Chenille Shoes, and they are Flamingo's Life. I have a pair of these. They're the comfiest trainer that you will ever wear. They are completely sustainable. They're a vegan leather brand, but they're made from all sorts of good stuff like bamboo
What do you call it,
and
Flamingo's
corn.
what?
Flamingo's Life is the name of the brand.
Oh.
So they're very on trend now, and they're kind of giving beiges a run for their money, but I can vouch they're more comfortable.
They've got, girl, yes.
And the jewellery, the earrings and the
earrings
necklace.
then, we have these dainty flower earrings. You can see the little diamante floral, and then it's got the little hanging piece behind them as well. And then the necklace here, this is the engraved bar. So Zoe & Co will engrave it free of charge, anything you want on the necklace, and you can get the back engraved as well free of charge. So you can get a date or anything
Ursula,
you want.
is your name on that? You're keeping it, are you?
Just write scrumper on it.
Scrumper, yeah.
Remember
Right,
what the
We'll
trend
get you one, Alan, that says scrumper.
Scrumper. It was the shacket last year.
Oh, the
It's
shacket
scrumper
now, the
this year.
scrumper,
You're
I've
gonna
heard
lose
it all.
So we're keeping the kind of bright animal print theme with this look from Nicola Ross in Nace. And this dress, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's such a great fit that they do this in so many different colours. Coming into summer, like obviously I've dressed it right up with a boot here, but I think this with your denim jacket and your trainers.
That's a very Murren O'Connell dress. I can see her wearing
It's gorgeous,
that.
isn't it? And it's a really great shape because it's got the little drawstring under the bust too. They're saying it's maternity friendly too because it does have so much room in the tummy. And then it's got the double frill at the bottom, as you can see, and then the 3/4 sleeve and the button down. So it's good for a big bust as well.
Okay.
So then I've teamed it with these boots, which are just, I love them. They're very me, I think. They're nude leather. They've got the block heel, so they're going to be super comfortable. They have a gel insole, but I think those you can see with the dress, but also with a straight jean, you know, over the boot, or with any sort of midi skirt or anything. They're ones you could actually wear year round if you're someone who would wear boots in summer. You know, they are a year round kind of a boot.
Justine is.
Yes, exactly. I'm a July boot gal.
And
beautiful earrings. I love these because they're the triple hoop. You can see it almost looks like she has multiple piercings, but it's just the one, and the little bit of a sparkle detail in those two. And then the necklace is her T-bar necklace, very simple on a classic chain, but I think that layered up with lots of different necklaces as well.
The snake and the T-bar, completely and utterly back, very 70s. Like they're everywhere over the last couple of years.
We're definitely seeing 70s creep into the kind of jewellery trends now, which I'm here for. And all the gold. And
I'm here for it. And a scrumper to go with it.
I'm going to say it to him every day and drive him insane.
Justine, thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much.
Now, coming up next, Ali Ryan is here and she has all the gossip on the latest what goings on in Love Island.
They wouldn't be wearing a scrumper.
No, they wouldn't be wearing a scrumper.
No, they wouldn't. Too covered up.
See you in a few minutes.
Well, from fake feuds to farmers and former contestants. Could only be winter Love Island, really.
It certainly is. Joining us now with all the Love Island latest is Ali Ryan from Goss.ie. But before we chat to Ali, let's take a look at some of the action.
It's time to show the boys which one of you is an out-of-this-worldie in today's challenge. Space launch. Prepare for liftoff.
You've been in here for 2 days.
But I like the boy.
Okay, am I not
I'm
allowed?
playing a game. I like him.
Okay. I'm not here for drama.
Those with the fewest votes are at risk of being dumped from the island tonight.
Only one boy and one girl will be going home tonight.
That decision will be made by Jessie and Anne.
Okay, all together.
We're not discussing that astronaut bit, I hope.
Please no, please no.
Let's talk about the fake feud, do you think, between Olivia and Zara?
So I think the reason people think it might be fake is that Zara came in and people think she has a game from the second she came in. She came in as a bombshell. She immediately took Tom off Olivia. And now, which is a little plot twist, it turns out that Olivia and Zara actually know each other. So people thought they knew each other because they followed each other on Instagram, but do you really know someone when you follow them?
No.
But now it's come out they actually starred in a music video together. They're both dancers. They genuinely do know each other. So the beef that they
could be
have...
like an acquaintance. They could have been in a video, met like very randomly.
David, who got dumped from the island, has since said in an interview that it was talked about in the villa. They do know each other well.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's been talked about. I don't know why we haven't been shown it. So their fights, everyone was sensing there was some deeper problem because they're really going at each other, and now it turns out they know each other. So there's probably beef behind the scenes. But as always with Love Island, it's suddenly getting resolved and everything seems calm now. So I'm guessing producers have stepped in and they've been like, you can't be at each other, because that was a vicious fight.
It's got quite catty, has it? Like, I mean, there's a lot of fights I hear between the girls in it.
Yeah, and I'm very shocked that Zara's not in the bottom three this week because she did not come off well at all. Like, Olivia was crying in the room. All the girls came into her.
What was she saying to her?
She was giving out to her for talking to Tom, who she'd been going out with for 24 hours. And she was like, he's my man, don't go near him.
Can't be doing that, stealing your man.
Like, do you realise we're on Love Island? Like, they're all chatting to each other. So it was just a bit erratic, the whole argument. And I think Olivia's coming out as the favourite now. And Olivia said, everyone's seen your true colours tonight. So I think the tables are turning for Zara. But in last night's episode, Zara is now trying to talk to Shaq, but he's coupled up with Tanya. So I don't know if she's digging a deeper and deeper hole for herself now.
Now, I hope you're following this at home.
Geraldine Herbert.
I hope you're following this at home.
Right.
Now, there are two Australian bombshells dropped in.
No interest in them at all now, I have to say. If they just, like, how is it going to work if they do end up winning the show with someone? They live in Australia. Like, so are they planning to move?
Well, half of Ireland, by the sounds that age group is moving to Ireland.
Well, that's true. The only good thing is that Farmer Will, who everyone is obsessed with, everybody loves him, he has basically been coupling up with Jessie. They're not an official couple yet, but they snogged last night. They had a good few kisses. Her lipstick was everywhere. And the whole villa started cheering. It's the first time the villa have, like, all the contestants have clapped.
They seemed very pleased for him.
And, like, there was a lot of chatter online. Like, I think viewers of the show, they really want Will to win because he's nice. But he feels like, I don't know if you remember the season with Hugo, Dr. Alex.
Yes.
They were all nice guys, but they weren't getting stuck in, and that's the name of the game. So I think maybe Jessie had a little bit of a hushing from producers to go give him a snog, because otherwise...
Do you think so?
Yeah.
No, you can't be forced to go and kiss somebody.
You can't be forced, but you can definitely be lightly nudged to have a little relationship. So I just don't believe it personally. I don't see it. But tonight, obviously, we're going to see who gets to stay and who gets to go, and that's going to turn things
I'm
around.
reading here, like, that he's been kind of branded the joke of the villa, though.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's just not getting with anyone.
He wasn't picked with anybody. Nobody was picking him for anything.
And then viewers at home were like starting a petition to get rid of him.
Normal.
No. I think he's like...
I think
he's like, I'm sure he's normal in general, but for the show, like, you have to be in there to find someone. You have to be flirting. You have to be getting in there.
But he does want to find somebody. It's just that he wants to let it develop naturally.
Nice guy.
And he's just a nice guy.
And, like, obviously when Jessie came in, I think she said she's from farmland in Australia, and it was like, and last night she said she was worried, like, a local farm girl from his area is going to come in and steal him away. So maybe we will get someone else in there. I just personally I don't buy the two of them. And the Aussies in general, they haven't made much of an impact, I don't think. But tonight, who stays and who goes is solely up to the two Aussies.
Yes, which was a real twist last night at the end. So there's 6 of them, 3 boys and 3 girls.
Yeah.
And 1 boy and 1 girl will go home tonight.
100% gone. So in the bottom 3 for the girls, you have Anna May, Tanya, and Tanyel. I still don't know how that's a real name, but anyway, Tanyel.
What is it?
Tanyel, not Danielle, Tanyel. So I think Anna May is going to be sent home. She's not really feeling any couple. And then the boys, we've Harris, we've Kai, and we've Tom. Tom is the one with the Zara, Olivia triangle. But as everyone's probably seen now in the news, Harris basically, a video came out. Now, he is a boxer, but there's footage of him fighting someone on the street, a very, very violent fight. And Love Island have confirmed that he has left the villa. So we don't know yet, was it through the dumping that he was let go anyway? It's likely, because out of the 3 boys, he's not really in an actual romantic couple.
So it works out well for the producers if tonight they just choose him to go.
And it's happened before.
Oh, sorry, he's not gone.
No,
well he is
officially
gone. They've confirmed he's gone. We don't know how, though.
But he could also be, but another boy could be voted out as well.
Yes. We will know that tonight.
But you know, there's been controversies with contestants in the past, and you never actually get to see people talking about it. They do normally kind of slide off. So I think if he's voted out, it would just be handy for everyone.
Oh, fine. It's just perfect for the producers.
They're gone.
The spokesperson said that they would never comment on dumpings or show formats to avoid ruining the show for the viewers.
But he is gone.
I mean, the footage of him punching some guy exactly doesn't look good.
And I do feel for Olivia, because that's who she's coupled up with, and she's just had this huge argument with Zara. So I really do think Olivia is one of the main characters of this series. So someone's going to have to come in for her. Maybe we'll see the Aussie guy, I forgot his name already, Aaron. We might see him kind of go for her now, because once you're single in there, you're vulnerable, you can go home.
Are there any, because the last Love Island got so popular, with a lot of help from the likes of Ek and Sue.
Yeah.
You know, she brought the drama.
Yeah.
Well, even before, like, you know, she did the crawling.
The crawling, I know. That's Olivia. I think that's the Olivia vibe. Zara's definitely trying to do it, but she's just coming across quite fake. I think that's the problem. Like, that fight was just weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, Olivia's really, really liked. And then couples-wise, Ron and Lana, I think they're going to be like the Molly May, the Tommy, the Tasha, the Andrew. Like, they seem very settled. But we're ages away from Casa Amor. They always seem so happy and loved up. And then, like, one person comes in and everything changes. So I don't know how they're not constantly anxious in there. They can lose their man. That's why Zara giving out that she lost her man after a couple of hours. I was just like, this is the game.
But do you not have to be coupled up to feel safe?
Well, yeah, but in Casa Amor, you still get completely split up. So no one is safe.
Find another couple.
No one is safe.
Oh, but then you could come back and after finding love there.
Yeah.
Who is your least favourite and who's your most favourite and your least favourite at the moment?
So I don't like Anna May and Kai, and last night they did kind of break up, even though they're a couple. So I think she could go now. She's not really doing anything. Haven't really seen her talk to anyone. And then I think Ron and Lana. I did like Shaq and Tanya, but now he's saying he wants to get to know Zara, so he might be getting his head turned. To be honest, you'll start to see now in the next week or so head slowly turning after making promises. You're the only girl for me. You have no eyes for anyone else. And then a bombshell walks in and they're gone.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I actually am. It's starting to really get interesting. The first week is always really hard to get into because you just don't care. You're not invested. But we're only on day 10 and like they're making headlines. People want to know what's going on with the girls. And because Harris is gone, we'll definitely have a new boy this week. So that's exciting.
And to be fair, as you say, when Casa Amor comes in, it really...
No, it does.
I'm glued.
Isn't it 8 weeks?
Yeah, it's 8 weeks on.
It's like a slow burner, but it's going to get...
I just feel sorry for the Islanders. They film from like 1 until 6 in the morning during these recouplings. Like, they're wrecked doing them and they're like
feel sorry for them at all.
Ali, thank you so much for all the update there. And of course, you can catch Love Island at 9 p.m. on Virgin Media 2.
Right, we are all out of time, but still to come tomorrow morning, we are going to be catching up with the Irish Eurovision legend, Emer Quinn.
And Entertainment.ie's Brian Lloyd is back to give his verdict on the movies and that everyone is talking about.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
On 7. Bye.